well, you can come anytime. Okay? So just please. So let's go and see. So this was the first important thing which we did. I told you to keep it always. So whenever you keep this thing in mind, keep these two things in mind: observational and experimental. Once you do with the observation, there are two: descriptive and analytic. And here in experimental, you have randomized, cluster randomized, field, and community trials. This was the first important topic which we did in our second years. We'll be continuing with this. And this will again form a part of your assessment at the end of the year. So don't leave it that we're done with this, so we need not to go back. Because your assessment in third year will be based on your second year epidemiology as well as what we are learning in third year. So don't leave this subject away, don't leave the topics away thinking that it's past. No, it's a continuous thing. Okay? So we have observational study where we do not intervene, we just observe things. Just go for observations, nothing more than that. So there is no intervention. Intervention means you do any sort of experiment, you do something with the subjects. We don't do here. So that's why they are called as observational. While as an experimental, there is some intervention. So you do something with the subjects. That's why it's called as the interventional or experimental studies. So in the observation, we talked about descriptive one. So in the descriptive, well, this is the first one. So in the description, what we do, we try to see the disease with respect to time, place, and person. Again, it will be coming again and again to you. Time, place, and person. Then we try to identify what are the factors that are responsible for the disease. So in other words, this descriptive study helps us to generate a hypothesis, the probable reasons for that disease occurs. Isn't it? That's what we learned all the way. Then, this study was tested. The hypothesis which we generated here was tested by the analytical studies. And in the analytical studies, the important ones were the case control, cohort, and cross section. These studies helped us to understand if there is any association, number one, and if there is an association, what is the strength of association, how strong the association is, or how weak the association is. That's what they were telling us. And in the experimental studies, we tried something new with a particular group of participants, which were called an experimental group. And in the second group, we did nothing. That was called as the placebo group or non-interventional group. Then we tried to find out that what is the difference in the outcome of the results as far as the interventional group is concerned and non-interventional group is concerned. And thereby, we understood whether our new thing is working or is not working. Whether we should approve this type of medicine, the pharmacology which you are studying now. You are GIT this time?
Yes.
Oh, you are in GIT. So you are going through prokinetic drugs.
Yes.
Yes. You also went through the proton pump inhibitors, H2 blockers. H2 blockers?
Yes.
Any idea what H2 blockers?
Yes.
Huh?
CTD.
17.
Yes.
And
Competitive activity.
there are names, no?
CMTD.
Ranitidine. Famotidine. What are the important side effects of simtidine? Simtidine. Gynecomastia is the most important. Gynecomastia is the most important one. I should remember now.
Hallucination.
Very hallucination. This is a very past thing. So how does these drugs come into being? How do you know that these drugs work or not? This is the studies where from it has come. Randomized control. That yes, this drug is working, that's why you are using. This drug is more superior to this. Then from H2 blockers, you went to proton pump inhibitors. The omeprazole, the pantoprazole, the rabeprazole, the esomeprazole, and rabeprazole. So you only know those four drugs which I know. Omeprazole, pantoprazole, rabeprazole, esomeprazole. Tell me the fifth and tell me the sixth. So that's why lansoprazole. For kids, usually you give for kids, small kids, lansoprazole. For their GRD, gastroesophageal reflex disorder, lens prosa, especially in the kids. So where from these things come?
Experimental.
So people have done first the experiment. That's why you are studying now. And this was the randomized control trial that this drug is to be used. Then after this is called as post-marketing surveillance. That means once this was on the group of fixed patients, now you give in the real world situation. Now you are giving everyone here pantoprazole, for example. And then post-marketing surveillance means some effects which were not understood in the short clinical trial, what are the effects in the long ones the person takes for a longer period of time. That's called as post-marketing surveillance. You keep eye on the side effects of the drug which is now being approved for use. And sometimes what happens that you get some information from post-marketing servers that can lead to rejection of the drug. It goes off the market. Any drug which has been taken away from the market because of post-marketing servers. Huh? No, it's still continuing. Why? Because of drug abuse, they have put a restriction. It's not been taken away. Any drug? You have read it. Embryology, do you read embryology?
It is thymidine, which causes leukemia.
Yeah. What's that called as?
Thymidine.
Thalidomide.
Thymidine.
Thalidomide.
Yeah.
The other drug which has been taken away, any NSAIDs? This was an NSAID, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs, which was given to pregnant females.
Yes.
And there was phocomelia. There were no limbs. The children were born. So these all things, why it happens, what you understand and what you practice comes from all these studies. That's why these studies are very important for you to understand. Tomorrow, if you are not able to read a paper, then there is no fun of being you as a medical professional. You cannot practice it. So from these studies, you come to know what should I do. Should I use this type of medicine or this type of drug or this type of drug? Is that clear?
Yes.
So let's go to the next. So you know the importance now. Your whole clinical practice depends upon understanding of the research that's being on in the world. That will help you whether this drug should I use, should I not use, what are the side effects, why I should use it, why I should not use it. There are contraindications. Huh? You read the contraindication in pharmacology.
Yes.
Contraindications. There is something called absolute contraindication. Another thing called as relative contraindication. So you should know where from it comes all through those clinical trials. So if you are not able to read that clinical trial, how they have done, I'm sorry, you cannot be a good medical professional. So this was a descriptive study. Just observe. We did nothing in these. This is a set of observations, part of observation. We did nothing. We just saw that how this disease is distributed and with respect to person who are the people who are getting affected, when are they getting affected, and where are they getting affected. These are the three questions. When, time, where, place, who, person. And these are the three why. Then we come to know the analytical why. That's the analytical study. So these are the three W's we go for here. These are very important W's. You should never forget them. So time, place, and person. This is a revision, basically refreshing your memory means again. You know, there's something refreshing the computer, we always do. So this is just that of refresh. So this is one of the, so once tomorrow you will be having this type of graph, you should understand what it is, what it's talking about. It's talking about maternal mortality. What's maternal mortality? In demography, block 1. That's how what? That's what we have carried on, huh? That's what we have left now. It's death of the mother during pregnancy, during delivery, or within 6 weeks of the delivery. In this period, if there is any death that's called as maternal death. So this is the person. Person. Who are the persons? Pregnant females during delivery or immediately after delivery. Then this is Sweden with the place where, and this is the time when. So when you are looking here, so you should understand from any topic, if I put anything here, you should be able to understand that this is a time, place, and person distribution. We are talking about a descriptive. So when the disease, time, 70, 75, where, Sweden, and who, person, it's maternal death. I can't help it out, no? It's not giving us two. So we can't help it out. So as I told you, this is usually the first study which has been carried out.
Yes.
It's the first study. This gives us an idea about the hypothesis you generate. That most probably it may be like this, which you do in the PBL sessions. Similarly, when you go through time, place, and person distribution, you come to know that these are the people who are mostly affected, and these are the associated factors with this. So this only helps to generate the hypothesis, not to test the hypothesis. It generates hypothesis. Then analytical case control and cohort study, isn't it? These test the hypothesis, isn't it? And they will tell us whether there is any association between the risk factors and the disease, and if it is, what is the strength of association. Khalid, sleeping or lying? Okay. So what we had, this was, I'm giving this simple thing so that we can cover it very briefly. So we had a population, from that population we took cases, means people who are diseased.
Yes.
Then controls from the same population who are not diseased. Then we went back retrospectively. So here disease has already occurred. We are going back and trying to identify the risk factors who are exposed, who are unexposed, who are exposed, who are unexposed. Then try to find out what are the factors responsible. Then once we do it, what we will see? This is. So among the cases, you see among the cases, this is exposed, this is unexposed part. Most of the cases are exposed, and among the controls, very less exposed. So exposed, unexposed, exposed. This is our direction of inquiry. It's backwards, retrospective. Then what we calculate from here? Good. But how? So this is what we get. Exposed is A plus B, which you see in the previous. Unexposed is C plus D. The same previous. If you go back, this is exposed, A and B, C and D. Is it clear?
Yes.
So, the probability, what are the chances that people, that the persons, the exposed person will develop a disease?
Is this the one to be protected?
We'll talk that later on. How we calculate that? Probability. So A divided by A plus B, because both of them are exposed. What is the probability of developing disease? Among this one, unexposed, C divided by C plus D. Now, please identify, mark my word, the probability that an exposed will develop a disease, the probability that a non-exposed will develop. Now we will see that what is the odds of an exposure that will develop disease. Next slide. It is called the odds that an exposed person will develop a disease. This A divided by B, not A divided by A plus B. A divided by A plus B was probability of development. This is odds that these people develop a disease divided by those people who are exposed do not develop the disease. So this is an odds ratio, like male-female ratio. So A divided by B is C divided by D. Then ultimately what we calculated? Odds ratio. That was A divided by B divided by C divided by D. Then once we turn it upside down, what we find? So this was this one. Then this is what we do. So this is A into C, B into D. That's how we did this odds ratio in the previous section. Then we also had something to do with the cohort. So that was a retrospective, this is a prospective. Simple one, simple design, not the other designs. I'm not mixing the other designs here. So from the population, these are the people who do not have the disease, but we will see that how many of them are exposed, how many of them are not exposed. Then among this exposed, how many will develop disease, how many will not develop disease, and from not exposed, what are the people who will get disease. And
Yes.
so this tells us that there is not only this exposure is responsible, there are other factors also which are responsible for disease. That's why among the non-exposed, they also develop a disease. For example, smoking. If we are talking about those who are smokers, we follow them up, they are exposed to smoking. But here they are not smokers, non-exposed. But still they develop a disease. Means there are more than one reasons for a disease to occur. We're getting my point? Multifactorial causation. Year one,
Yes.
POD, Forget it. So then this was A divided by A plus B was incidence among exposed, then incidence among not exposed was C divided by C plus D. And D calculated the latest, that was this divided by this. Okay? This was the relative risk. Now this is an example, I don't want to go through an example, you have read too much about this. So they tell us whether an association suspect factor is actually associated, and if it's associated, what is the risk of, what is the strength of association. So we did an odds ratio and a relative risk, which we understood. Then we also had something called as clinical trials. We were giving a lecture on that. The experimental designs, or these are called as intervention. So you must remember these words. Interventional, experimental means where we do something with the subjects, with the participants. So this was, for example, we had 32 communities in 2 districts. Then you randomized them. There was something called as randomization here. In case control, there was matching. Here there was randomization. Huh? You remember or no?
Yes.
Here there was eligibility criteria, inclusion and exclusion criteria as well. Then we followed them over a period of time. It is same as we have the cohort, but the only difference here is there is something called as randomization, number one. Number second, we have something called as intervention, which is not in the cohort. This was the difference between cohort and the clinical trial. Am I going too fast? You are picking me up or not?
Yes.
Anyone who has some issues with what I'm speaking too fast, so I can decrease my speed. Huh? Although you don't. When you move in a vehicle, you never decrease it. You just accelerate it. So you have a population, eligibility criteria, we go for exclusion, those who are not eligible, then we go for randomization, then we have 2 groups, intervention and non-intervention group, and then we see the effects of them. Then we compare whether our strategy is effective or not. Biostatistics, we talked about biostatistics, some types of basic biostatistics, data and its types, the variables, qualitative, quantitative ones, sampling procedure, sampling size, all of you know it. You have done an exercise with your research synopsis. Now what are the activities for HIC? This is very important, you must understand. So here I am going for the orientation. Basically these are 2 important things which you have to understand. Number 1 is the activities which will be carried out in the lectures. Certain topics will be covered in the lectures. And some of the areas will be in the research writing. When you are going for research writing, data collection, how to analyze it, what to do with the data, what are different types of tests. We will be teaching you as well as giving you hands-on exercises in your research. Then you will be also preparing your research paper and submitting it. And in this GIT block, you have some other activity called as school health. Have you seen your timetable?
Yes.
There's something called as school health awareness.
Yes.
So in school health awareness, you will make groups, the same groups which are in the research group. And you will meet your supervisor or Professor Mustafa, because he only among us who knows Arabic. So you choose your topic, make a presentation, choose your school, which school you want to go. You want to go to primary school, you want to go high school, you want to go higher secondary school, which school. And then take a timing from them as per the timetable. In the timetable you will find one schedule where it says orientation on school health. Second schedule in some another week, it tells you that today will be the health awareness. That means that day you will be going to the schools and giving them the health awareness message. Is that clear? So you will pick up those important problems in your community and you will prepare a presentation on that, all of you. That means as a group. Then you will discuss it with Professor Mustafa whether the messages are correct or not. Then you will go there and ask for the timing appointment with the head of the institution, the same time which is in your timetable, and then you can go and deliver the topic. Then you will have few clips with you, few photographs, and also a certificate for each participant from the head of the school that they have been here and imparted school awareness sessions. And this exercise is a part of your practicals which carry 10 marks. Is that clear? So we put 10 marks for school health. So these are the activities which you have to do. Now what are the topics? As I told you, what are the topics you will be doing? The topics will depend upon the important problems in the kingdom. Number one, you can go to Ministry of Health portal and see there are materials, awareness materials. You can even extract the awareness material from there. Yes?
So there's no field visits?
No field visits. You are free from the field visits now. So you have a lot of time for other activities, especially research. You will be carrying out research, that's a very important activity, and the school health. So school health is a part of practicals and carries 10 marks. And you know what is to be done?
Yes. Yes.
So it's in the GIT block. So make the groups, go to the Professor Mustafa, identify the topic first from the Ministry of Health portal, awareness programs, and download the material. Talk with Professor Mustafa, make a presentation, go to the school, get an appointment on the same day when there is, which is in the schedule, timetable. Then go there and deliver that. And once you come back, you will give us the presentation in a separate hard copy, your presentation, few photographs of the session, and third, each of you will be having a certificate from there. If you have all the three things, you will definitely be getting 10 marks. If you will not do it, you will be getting 0 on that. So choice is yours, it's mine.
Should be in the GIT block.
Should be in the?
في يوم محدد
GIT block.
في يوم
Ah, it is in the GIT. It is.
يوم محدد
You go through that, you will find it. Firstly, let us see what are the topics which are distributed across HIC and across the community. This is clear demarcation. So there is no confusion. So these will be your HIC at the end of year, plus the epidemiology of second year, all the lectures in epidemiology and data and other things. The rest I am taking out. Is that clear?
again دكتور sorry
Epidemiology, all the lectures which we did in epidemiology, case control, cohort, matching, confounding, data, other things which are in the second year, they will be part of the evaluation. Because I will show you why it will be a part, that will be a part of the evaluation. So we will be having HIC 3, today's review. So obviously nothing will be from here except orientation, so this lecture goes. But still I have given you a lot of information about the last year. Data presentation 1 and 2, we'll be giving you those 2 lectures because you will be collecting the data for your own research, then how will you present it? That's called a data presentation 1 and 2. Normal distribution curve, hypothesis testing, investigation of an outbreak. It is basically a part of food poisoning, but food poisoning separate in the block. But this part will be here. Investigation of an outbreak will be evaluated here. Urinary system, p-value and confidence interval, what are those things are? We have to learn. Host-acquired infection, post-exposure prophylaxis, and surveillance. These will be the topics in the urinary one. In the CNS, we'll be having tests of significance, Z and chi-Schnell. This is only one. Or we can distribute it 2 lectures so that you know the overall test, then you will know completely the Z and chi-Schnell. Then health system research, quality management in health system, and we'll be giving you also SPSS training. Training SPSS.
yes
SPS means how once you collect your data and how you interpret it, how you analyze it. That's called a statistical package for social sciences. SPSS. There are different versions. The latest version we'll be using, and we will help you that how you will be entering your data, what is the variable view, what's the data view, and how you will analyze. So you put all your data there, then analyze, and present as data presentation, how you will present your data. So this will come from here. And from here, we will have schistosomiasis, epidemiology of renal stones, rabies, poliomyelitis, and then screening, other things, so many things here in the
Doctor,
community. Yeah.
in which block the presentation of our research will be?
Well, that will be defined. That will be in the IMS law. But you have to finish it here because all the things should get completed in the CNS or in here in this. So if it gets finalized, this is only presentation date. This is not submission date. Submission date is here somewhere in those blocks. If you have any queries, please let me know. So for your research, what you have to do, and school health. School health, I told you what is to be done.
Yes.
So you'll have to take from there, identify the topic, meet him, make a presentation, and find a date with the schools, and then take a permission letter from us. Permission letter. It will be a group permission, not as a group will be given permission. So you will have a permission letter from administration will be providing it. Don't worry for that. And you will be going to the school and just we are from Al Jawf University and we want to impart this training session. So they will give you the permission. Otherwise, they will not give you the permission. Is that clear? And you know what to deposit back in the hard copy, in the file. So every group will be having its own file. Names of the students, what was the presentation, its hard copy, the photographs of the event, and the certificates. Now, according to, as per the research is concerned, because this year you are going to carry out your research, the first important thing for the research is that your proposals, whatever you have submitted to us, they should get approved by a committee called as bioethical committee. Bioethical committee is basically in the university and it takes care whether the research is really applicable. Is there any harm, HARM, any harm associated with this research? If you carry out this research, is it going to harm anybody which is included in the research? And they have to take care of these things. Plus, whatever data you are going to collect, is it you are keeping it confidential or making it open for all? So this bioethical committee has the responsibility that the research should not affect the people, the participants. Okay? So it takes ethical issues into consideration, every issue into the consideration. So your proposal will first go to the bioethical. So what you will do? So as a group leader of your group, research group, you will meet your supervisor, tell him that how I should proceed in this, what I have to do, what's your role. Because it's your research, it's not my research. It's not anybody's research. You are just helping you, guiding you. So they will tell you that you have to have a copy of the research. There should be a questionnaire. The questionnaire should not be a questionnaire which will be somewhat, we can say, it will be a direct questions or those questions which are not good to be asked. So you meet your supervisor and arrange those questionnaire. And in the questionnaire at the bottom you will write that the questionnaire will not be changed after bioethical review. Because once it gets clearance from the bioethical committee, you cannot change the questionnaire.
When do it start for that?
You can start now. That's what I'm telling you. You can start today.
What about the research? Can we delete some paragraphs and add those?
Yes, if you wish, you sit with your supervisor and see whether they are to be deleted or not. You can sit with your supervisor, you can modify that, whatever it is. So, your synopsis, as you have prepared it, the questionnaire, you will write the bottom line, but I am not going to change it, or we are not going to change it. Third thing will be consent. Consent for each participant. There will be paper which you will give to each participant and he will sign on that. Okay? Who will be in your study. So that will be part of your synopsis. And there are 2 papers from the university portal which you have to fill. And you combine all these papers and then give it to me. I will send it for the bioethical committee for clearance for approval. That means your synopsis is approved. Your research approved to be carried on. So you can carry out the research. Without this, you cannot carry out the research.
What about if they refuse?
Let us first do it now. If you refuse, then we will give you the other options. What are other options? So that's why we say do a good exercise that it doesn't get disapproved. So we'll be so once this ethical approval is done, you will get a permission for data collection. You will go for data collection. So this time you cannot go unless you will not complete this thing. Then we will also be giving you how to write a research paper. We will be giving a workshop on this. And school health sessions, as I told you. Midterm exams before 1st of Jan 18. There will be. So you will not tell us, oh, can you postpone after Jan? It's not like that. So putting here. Undergraduate research paper presentation. Once you finalize it, then you will present in the same way as was done last time. Then exams for HIC will be 2 also included from 3rd year. They are reading epidemiology and biostatistics, plus these things. So how will be the evaluation? Your attendance carries 5 marks. Clear? I'm not keeping it here, no? Blind, that you don't know. You must know clearly what are the marks. Attendance 5, your midterm will have 10 marks. Research submission. Once you submit your research, when you complete and submit, I am keeping it here, you can take it afterwards. I need to have a photograph, I will also keep it on the blackboard. So it will be open to everyone. It will be also in the blackboard, it will be here, so no need to have a photograph.
For the group, only this picture doesn't work.
Okay. So here are 15 marks. That means the hard copy which you are submitting, 15 marks. 5 with your 10 is for evaluation. So once we send it for evaluation, they will give out of 10. 5 marks each of you will be with your supervisor. That whether he is doing his work or not, he has done any contributed to this work or not. There are 5 marks into supervisor. So make sure you reach your supervisor, discuss with him, distribute work among yourselves so that you can capture those 5 marks. Otherwise you will lose those 5 marks. And only one person in the group will come up, I have to do a research, whereas the others they have not come, so they will not receive these 5 marks. Maybe they will not also get anything from when they are not a part of the research, so they will not get anything of submission as well. So make sure that every one of you, you should identify your time, meet your supervisor as a group, not as an individual. There is nothing like an individual. The purpose is to build teams, good teams among yourselves so that you can go ahead. So is that clear? So this will be your total will be 30. This is a part of the continuous assessment. Now practicals. We have 20 marks for practicals. So we have 30 marks for this. This is distribution. 20 marks for this. Research presentation. 10. I don't do those 10 marks. I don't give you 10 marks. It's given by 2 or 3 people who are there, the judges or the evaluators who are there. I have no role here. Then school health. Yes, you have a role to play. I don't have a role to play. If you do all the things in the school health, you will get complete 10 marks. So you're already having the 10 marks. You only to figure out of 90. If you do this school health in a good way. Is that clear? Anybody having any confusion? We don't want confusion from day one. I want to make things clear. So tomorrow you will not come, oh, I was not present, I don't know, I was sleeping that time. So don't sleep here. There will be no answers after this. Then at the end of the year, we have 50 marks for the end of the year. So it will comprise, you know, the MEQs, the SEQs, the exercise, the MCQs, everything. So grand total will be out of
So, Doctor, midterm from which lectures?
what will be covered up to Jan 1?
Plus second year?
What second?
It's
No.
just in the end.
That will be in the end. So midterm will be only on the lectures which we take up to Jan 1st. Even if we are taking something on that day, that will also be. If it's in the pre-noon session.
So we will make it before that lecture.
I don't know. It's your choice.
الاسوي مثل الماضي كنا
But
جنات.
important thing for all of you. I am putting this. But all of you need to register yourself here. Please visit the link and get registration. What you need to do, you need to visit this one. Visit this link. There comes a page which you have to fill. There in the page you have to write your name, your ID, everything. Besides that, you have to make your small seal and attach it, put it there. There are 2 options. As a student you want to register or as a researcher you want to register. So you are registering as a student. Okay? Then then they will ask for the zip code. The zip code is this. They will ask for the post of box 2014. Once you do this thing on the this site or this link, within 2 weeks you will receive acknowledgement that okay, it's done. Now you can appear in the exams. You will appear on the online exam. So once you open it, read the reading material 2-3 times before you appear in the exam. There is a reading material on that. On this link, they will provide you that reading material. You read that. Once you read it, then there is an exam. You can click on the exams. That's an online exam. Okay. So a small exam, like MCQ type. MCQ type. So you can go on there, and if you are successful, they will give you a shahada. That will be valid for 3 years. So you will be eligible to carry out research all these 3 years. This is mandatory for all of you, not only for you, but also for the supervisors. Who are your supervisors? I have told them to.
Should we do it?
Huh?
Today we can do it.
Yes, you can do it. You can today go on the site, register yourself. You will get within 2 weeks. You check your mail. You will get a link. You activate this account. There's a password and a username. Then there will be reading material. You read that material.
Is it related to
Research. It is more important for bioethical registration. So you are going for registration. Then when you have this copy, you can carry out the research. So this is one of the requirements for you to become researchers. Is that clear? Any question on this, please? Yes?
The reading material cover all the questions.
Yeah, it's very easy. It will be very, very
Is
easy.
there many chances if I fail?
Why you will fail, and hopefully you pass it in just with your left hand. It's not a big deal. So you will read that material, all of you. And if you find difficulty, 2 of you can sit and read the material. You can make a group. Huh? And then you can, through your accounts, you can go and you can qualify that exam. But as a group, you can read it. If, for example, you cannot understand something, you can ask your friend, what does this mean? So you will, again, Google the reading material. You can Google from there and see what is the correct thing, how I understand this point. This is the reading material. Then once the questions will come, so it will be very easy. So even that time, you can sit 4 of you.
And
You have
choose.
your user on different names. When the question comes, you can discuss and then you can see which one is the correct one.
Is there all the time after I have to take the exam? 3 days or 4 days?
No. Within 2 weeks, you will get a link first.
No,
If I take it,
After that, you have
Yes.
to appear in the exam.
Yeah, when the exam.
It's up to you.
Open time.
It's open. Any question? Any question on this? So I will be putting these things here. This is very important for you to be a researcher. Please understand. So when you will be getting the shahada, it will be part of your synopsis which you will be submitting to me for bioethical approval. This shahada is very important. So all of you have to pass this. There is nothing like failing in the exam. So all of you are good students. You will go through the reading material. It's in Arabic. It's in English as well. The way you like, you can qualify it, this exam. And inshallah, you will be eligible for 3 years. I have got this certificate. It's different for me. It's a different reading material for you. It will be different. So there is nothing to worry about. Thank you very much. And before, please silence for 2-3 minutes till you finish your attendance.